And we are live. So here we go. It's time for whether you're at work, in the car. We hope you enjoy the show. Like and subscribe in the notes. There, so you can get all the week and talk goodness, geocache talk goodness. Thanks to Jones for being patrons of the show. There will be a 15-minute after tonight's show. If you'd like to find out more about becoming a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocachetalk for more details. Today I have on the show my friend Sherminator18. Also have geocache and our weekly product tip. Right into show number 2 for 16th. And thank you. Go.
Oh, thanks. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad you could make it. It's gonna be fun. Sydney, you were you were on the list of people I wanted early on in my show.
Oh,
so I'm so glad you were able to be part of the show. So
yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, you bet. Well, let's jump into geocaching news. We got a lot tonight, so we're going to jump right in and talk about geocaching news. It's sponsored by FTF Magazine. FTF Magazine can be found at ftfgeocacher.com. And I was just flipping through this issue the other day, and actually, it was a couple
days ago.
Yeah, it was about a week ago. And page 15. Let's go to page 15 here. Well, what do you know?
Hey, that's my article.
Hey, that's your article. That's awesome. So was this the first one you've ever sent in, or is this
Yeah, that was the very first one. I had kind of been thinking about maybe what I would want to write. I wasn't really sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I just came up with that idea. So I was talking about what I really like about geocaching, and I included some really awesome caches that I visited.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I think it turned out pretty good.
It did. It was really good. I really liked it. I love the magazine, and I love hearing and reading stories. And since I kind of knew you before, it was really neat to kind of read.
Right.
And before the show started, Sydney and I were talking about the Eternal Flame Falls Earth Cache.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's so there's like a tiny waterfall, and in a crevice behind that waterfall, there's a natural gas leak. So at some point, somebody lit this on fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it just continues to burn because the gas is just seeping out of the cracks in the rocks. So it just eternally burns.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so it's behind this waterfall, and then you see the waterfall and the flame behind it, and it's really cool.
That's cool. I gotta get up and see that. Well, and I'm sure Lame Monkey would love to go.
I know. I think I told him about it, and he's like, I might have to come to New York now.
Just entice him with earth caches.
I know. There's a lot of great earth caches up here.
That's awesome. Yeah. Susan and I were talking about, we'll talk about Geo Woodstock 14 in a little bit, but there's some good earth caches up there too. We're going to get to do.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
That's going to be awesome. So, so we have two news articles. I'm going to start with the one that came out this week, and it's Geocachinger, as we've called it. The app, it was 4.3.1 came out this week, and interesting. I call it the new cache clumping map, and I'll kind of show it on the screen.
See if you can get it.
Yeah, see if I can get it just right. You have to go just at the right angle. There we go. You can kind of see it a little bit. So you got these cache clumps. I don't know how else to put it.
Right. So it clumps all the nearby caches together in one little blob.
Yeah. It reminds me a little bit, if you've ever looked at stuff on, say, like either Craigslist or somewhere else, and you're trying to look for something, it'll clump
Right.
stuff up. So anyway, I am not a fan of this. I hope that they'll listen to some feedback and possibly make this maybe just an option. I think that's better if I can turn it off or on.
Right. And I know one of the main reasons they did it was it saves people data. So people were saying, "Oh, I don't have, a high data plan." So that's I think why they did it.
That makes sense. But I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
So I want the option.
Right. Yeah, it would be nice to have the option.
Turn it off. So
right.
So that was that. So the next article or next news article, Sydney, you're going to take this one. So talk a bit about the HQ Duck Dash.
Yeah. So I think it was this past Thursday. We got an email saying that geocaching.com is sponsoring a trackable race this summer, and it's for the 15th anniversary of the world's first trackable released by Jeremy Irish in 2001. So they were, I guess, 7 ducks that were released, and they had all these silly names, and so they are inviting you to make a duck-themed trackable and enter it into this race. And the goal is to get to an event on International Geocaching Day, which is August 20th this year.
Hang on one quick second, Sydney.
Okay.
Let me do I need to do a setting. Hang on the fly. We're going to make a change here. Okay. 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 Let me start recording again. Okay. All right. Keep going.
All right. So
you hear me okay? I hear you now. Okay. So, okay, we're good. Keep going. Okay.
Okay. So if you want to enter a duck-themed trackable, they have a link on their blog post for a form you need to fill out with your trackable code and your geocaching name and things like that. And I'm sure Gary will put that in the show notes, the link for the article.
Yep.
I already have mine set up and ready to go. It has a little rubber ducky on it and everything.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's awesome.
I don't have much luck with trackables usually, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't really either. But, Susan and I had one that was... we had these 2... I might have mentioned this before on a show, but we had these 2 drink umbrellas that we got in Hawaii. And so we thought, let's put them in a baggie and let's see if we can get them back to Hawaii. And they didn't. They languished in the Midwest for a while. Then they made it to. And then all of a sudden, boom! It made it all the way to San Francisco. And I'm thinking they're just like one flight away from Hawaii. Right. Almost like a day later, it hit San Francisco. Somebody picked it up, and I made the mistake of not putting enough information in it, and took it back to Pennsylvania.
Oh boy!
So now it's like in Maryland somewhere. So it's still traveling, but it's just sort of traveling the mainland.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah, that's okay. It's you send out a trackable in the hope.
Right.
That everything will be okay, but you don't really know for sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
I had good luck with the Geo Gearheads race this past. Mine actually made it with one other at the same exact time. I don't know if anybody else has made it there yet.
I had one.
Did it go missing or no?
Yeah, it went about 3 miles and died.
I think that happened to a lot of people because of where they started in Washington, and I actually had someone I knew go find Chris at the event and pick it up for me and bring it back to New York.
That's awesome.
So that was good. And then I actually knew somebody from here was flying to England.
Right.
So I gave it to them, and then it was almost there. So that was pretty good.
That is awesome. Yeah, I sent a note to the guy who originally had it. Real nice, Hey, could you
Right.
kind of put that in a cache somewhere? It's
Uh-huh.
racing, and he goes, "Oh, sure, no problem." He put it in there, and of course, it's disappeared since then. So.
Yeah, that stinks.
Oh well, but still fun, and I'm kind of glad, if they're doing something like this. I hope it works out great. People get
Yeah.
involved in it and all that. I don't think we're going to get another. Like last year, we had the road trip.
Right.
It was a lot of fun, and I don't know. I don't think this year they're going to do anything else.
I don't know. I don't know either. I can't tell. Because, people from the site have been on other podcasts and I always try and ask saying, "Can you give us any information?" But they never tell us, so I'm not sure.
I saw a note that somebody had sort of slipped up maybe a little bit that they think this is going to be all of it for the summer, but that's okay. That's all right. I know that August 20th, there's an icon, a souvenir.
Right. Yes, I heard that too.
Yeah. So, that's always cool. I like this. I love the souvenirs.
Yeah. And I think also for this race, if you do participate, you get like some little thing you can put on your profile page, I think they said.
Yes, I did see that. So very cool. Very cool. Okay.
So kind of like a souvenir, but
yeah, exactly. That's kind of neat. So I'm gonna try to get involved and do that as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk tonight a couple things. We're going to talk about Project GC, and we're going to sort of do show tell. We're going to try to keep it. We're going to show it for the YouTube people, and we're also going to obviously talk about it because for iTunes and all that. So we're going to do our best, the two of us, to do both at the same time. So we're going to do a juggle. And if you want, Sydney, start with, again, we're talking about Project GC, and then we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit during the show, and we're going to talk about traveling and how Project GC can kind of fit into that. And then we'll kind of wrap up by focusing more on both. We're both going to Woodstock 14, or I hope everybody gets to go. So, your screen.
Let me see if I can figure this out again.
Yeah, screen share, and you can do your whole screen, and then you can just sort of, if you want to minimize.
Share.
Yeah, the green one.
Yep, I got it.
Cool.
All right, can you see that?
It is popping up, and it is there. Yes, let me put the. I'm gonna put you on exclusive. So even though I talk, it'll be on yours. So we're good. Yep.
Okay.
Very good. So now, do you want me to kind of talk through some of our you and I's show notes while you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that'll work. Probably good. So okay, so so I'll go through a couple notes. Getting started. Yes, there is a trial usage that you can do, which is very cool. I've done that before.
Right.
And so you can, they are very, very good about telling people, we want you to be able to try the product so you know what you're getting. And is it $30 a year?
I think it's US dollars $23.
Okay.
Because that's whatever it converts to from the euro.
Right.
Okay. In Europe somewhere, I forget where.
Yes, but that's not much.
Right. Yeah, not less than premium membership on geocaching.com.
To me, it's worth a lot of time and effort that I would have to go through to do some of the things it does. So, okay. So you do need to authenticate to the product, which you did a minute ago.
Yep. There would be a little blue box up in the top right corner right here. It just says my name because I've already signed in.
Correct. Very good. And so move my screen over a little bit. So first time you used the product, you said it was like a whole new. Oh, that was my note.
I think that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. First time I used it. Yeah, it was a whole new world. Because it takes a little bit. It's not confusing.
There's just a lot of stuff.
There is. It's really cool. And so just my old mind, I tend to get a little confused on there's a couple different ways to look at it. There's sort of my stats or Susan and I stats
Right.
in the profile, and then there's statistics and some tools. So,
Right.
so go through what parts of it you want to go through right now and kind of show people
Sure.
what you really like.
Okay, so a lot of the things I like are under the tools menu, and they have a lot of different mapping features. So the first one I like is you can map a difficulty or terrain matrix is what they call it. So you type in your profile name and a cache location. Let me see if I can get something to come up here. I'll just type in my state of New York. And what it does is it will find caches in whatever specific area that you need to fill your difficulty or terrain grid.
Which is awesome.
So it'll pick out caches that fill those open spots, so you don't have to go and do all the searching on your own.
Yeah,
you can look at the map.
Oh, absolutely. And you can pick a county, like if you're going to, if you want to do it around where you live, or if like you're traveling in state, say for example, Susan and I go down to Tyler periodically, and that is Smith County. We live in Hunt County, but I can set it for Smith County, and it can tell me while we're there anything that fills it. And there's the screen.
I have a lot of empty spots, so it's probably taking a while to come up with.
Well, it's showing the whole state right now.
Yeah,
New
so
York,
I just have the whole state. But you can also there's a filter option in that menu. Let me see if I can. But you can select. Oh, see, add filter.
Yep.
Right under your cache location, and you can do a center radius as well. So if you want to just do within 5 miles of a specific town, you can do that as well.
That's so cool. And then you can then pick, or you can say, well, here's 3 that would fit.
Right.
And say 2 of them aren't there. That's fine. You got a 3rd one that you can add to fill out your fizzy or Jasmine.
Right. So it'll give you a map of all the caches, and you can zoom in or zoom out wherever you want. But it also gives you a list at the bottom. So if you want to, say, well, which ones are which terrains, you can come down here and sort by different cache types or different counties or different sizes, favorite points, whatever you want.
That is very cool. I mean, that's really, think of the time you save just by having the tool, do that work for you. It's just because
cool. Before I knew about Project GC, I was trying to, find specific things like this, and I was just trying to search with, pocket queries or the search on geocaching.com, and it just wasn't doing very well. So this was very helpful for me.
Yes, it's awesome. And that's, could be fizzy, could be really kind of, I guess, any challenge that you're working on, and which kind of brings us to the fact that I found it interesting when we started hearing about the fact that they were going to start or they were about to take the moratorium off of challenging the challenge caches, and then we heard the little inkling that they're going to go with Project GC, and I thought that's really cool because I like Project GC. I kind of like it, so it worked out great.
Yeah, I was glad when they did that because, Project GC does all this good stuff, and I'm hoping maybe someday geocaching.com might be able to implement some of these things and that kind of stuff, but we'll see.
Yeah, and so, when they said that that's a challenge checker that's acceptable for creating new challenges. The old challenges are kind of grandfathered into whatever they want to do, but so that's really cool. So a couple of your notes you put in is about it will output a message that you can copy and paste into your log on the challenge cache that has your qualifications. So so show where that.
Right. So if you go up under the same tools menu, there's a section for challenges, and if you click challenge checkers, it'll take you to a screen, and you can search for different challenges, whether that's, in your state. So here they have a list of, some popular ones. Right. But you can also search for specific things in this search box here. So you just pick on one. Let me see. I'll pick this one, and then there's a tab on the right that says Use Checker. And if you're signed in already, which you should be, it will run the checker for you. So you can type in your profile name here. Mine already is. You click Run Checker, and it says Sherminator18 fulfills this challenge according to this challenge checker. So then at the bottom here, it has a copy and paste that follows the the markdown format that you can copy and paste into a log for this specific challenge cache. So it lists all of this one is a souvenir challenge, so it lists all of the souvenirs I have that qualify for this.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. That helps obviously the cache owner when you're going to post that this is acceptable for you're able to you're qualified for the challenge.
Right.
They need to know that you qualify.
Yes. That's very helpful.
Yeah. That is awesome. So, and I think also you viewed it sort of as a list. I think you can also view it in sort of map view, I think.
Yeah, you can. So if you go back up to tools and there's a map of challenge caches, you can see all the challenge caches in whatever specified area, say your state. You can type in all these different parameters. Right. And then it'll create a map. So what it does is it looks for the word challenge in the cache title, I think.
Okay.
Because now all challenge caches have to have the word challenge in the title.
Okay.
So sometimes it will pull up a cache that isn't actually a challenge cache because it has the word challenge in it.
Makes sense.
Which is just a little quirk, but...
Mm-hmm. Maybe they will in the future not let you unless you really have a need for using that word. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's an idea.
Let's see. Oh, so here's. Oops.
Oh, that's okay.
Here's the map of New York with all the different challenge caches.
That is neat. And I think probably some of them are not. They have the red dash probably means maybe they're disabled right now. I'm not
sure. So what that means is if you are a paid member of projectgc.com, it will automatically run all these checkers for you, and then it will show on the map whether you qualify with a green check mark or you don't qualify yet with a little red minus sign.
Yeah, okay.
So those are ones I don't qualify for yet, and the green check marks are ones that I do.
Oh, great. Okay.
And if the little icon is colored in green, that means that a checker already exists. And if it's just like this weird beige gray color, that means there isn't a checker for it.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so, and then all the future ones have to, but you could then research that one on your own and kind of try to figure out whether you qualify. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. That's really good. You've got some there. Sydney, you can go do now.
Yeah, and there's like this whole trail of challenge caches here that
I
haven't even taken a look at, but
yeah. Oh yeah, I hear you. That's cool though. So paying members, the map will automatically show if you're qualified for a challenge or not. So that's good. So and again, it's not very expensive at all. It's well worth it. So
yeah, I think it's really worth it.
So since we're talking about maps a little bit, what are some other items in the map-based tool area that we want to talk about? I know you can map a bookmark list.
Yes, you can. That's just a simple thing. If you have a list already created on geocaching.com, it will just take that list and put it on the map for you, which is, unless you create a pocket query, it's something that geocaching.com doesn't do yet.
Okay, right. I gotcha.
So it's just so these are all my lists. Let me see if I can just pick one.
You got some lists there.
Yeah, I like to make lists because I found this feature on geocaching.com. Let's see.
Yeah.
Here's my solve puzzles bookmark list, I guess.
Very cool.
So you just click map and then it will plot it on a map for you. It's really nice and handy.
That is so awesome.
Yep.
That it gives you even just looking at it, you can kind of plan, because like if you're looking at a list, you're like, okay, but when you see it on a map, you're like, ooh, there's a whole ton of them clumped in one little area, and you're like, well, let's plan to go over there one day.
So what I'm really using this for is my route to and from Geo Woodstock this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I can kind of see it's a whole lot easier to plan my trip when I can see it on a map rather
Right.
than just a list of caches. So here's, potential caches I have. Oh, this one's been archived. How sad.
Oh,
But this is just a potential list of all the caches I might try and do on my
yes.
way.
That is awesome.
Way
And
home.
you
So
got your trip out and your trip back. I could see
that's
that.
been really helpful.
And that's really good because you can kind of determine, because I've done before, and I'm sure I know you have too, where you go caches along a route. I don't know. Tell me all the ones within 3 miles of, and then you're like, ugh, look at this list. It's enormous. And it's
Right.
like, now you got to sift through it. Do I like this cache? Do I really want to go do that one?
Exactly. So that's why I like using Project GC, because for geocaching.com it has a 500-mile limit. So this trip for me, I think, is like 1,500 miles or more. So I would have to make 3 or 4 of those pocket queries. But then you also run the risk of bumping up to that 1,000-mile, or not 1,000-mile, 1,000 cache limit on each pocket query. So you might have to end up making more.
Sure.
So that's I'm thinking about doing that, but making the radius really small along my route to just see if there's any like right on the road or at rest stops and things like that. So
Okay. Yeah. But what a great start to what you're So that I need to do that as well. And I'm running out of time rapidly because we're leaving Saturday, but you're giving me some great ideas. So very cool. So what are some other tools? Let's stick with tools for a moment. What are some other tools in Project GC that you tend to be some of your go-to other tools? Like, like do you look for like, do you do a map compare caches in a certain area?
You can do that. I'm not doing that. So what that does is, if you're going out with somebody or a group and you want to see caches in a particular area or all along a route that both you and your friend have not found, so you want to find caches that you've both not found before, that's a good way. So it's under tools, and then you go to map compare, and you can just type in your name and your friend's name and then a cache location, and then it'll give you a map of all the caches that neither of you have found. So let me see.
Do you know, I really haven't tried this one. Do you know if you can add more than 2 people?
Yes. So you can, if you are a paying member, you can compare with more than 2.
Okay.
I think up to like 10, maybe. I want to say.
Okay. That'd be really cool.
It might be 8 or 10. So if you're going with a big group,
sure,
and you want to try and find some caches that not everybody has found, because some people have been there before and things like that. But like I said, you have to be a paying member to do more than yourself and one other person.
Okay. Very cool. Well, then there are times we have a group that we get together and go out, the Motley Caching Crew, as we call ourselves. But there's anywhere between 6, depends on who all comes out that day. But I try to, when I organize, I tend to be the one that organizes the little outing, and so I try to make it so that, and some of the guys are retired, and so they have done a lot more geocaching around this area than some of the rest of us. But I try to, best as I can, find a location that we can all get to, close to some barbecue, because you got to have some afterward. But I want to make it so that even the retired guys have some caches that they can actually hunt for, that they have never found before. And these kind of tools are really, it's really the only way to do it. I mean, other than a lot of legwork to go through, I'd have to pull up their profile, and I have to go through, and look at all their. It's just you really couldn't do it. So.
There might be like a GSAC thing for that, but I'm no good with GSAC, so I stick for this.
I'm not very good at GSAC either. I know some people love it. I know Electric Water Boy, friend of ours, Tom. He He's a big GSAC fan, but I think you really, I mean, it's another tool, but I think for me, I still love Project GC. I like it's complex enough to get all these different parts, but yet it's simple enough to understand and get through, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
and simple to use, really.
Once you kind
So
of get used to it, it's a lot easier.
right, right. So are there some other? Is there any other tools, or do we
Right.
want to switch?
Well,
Mhm.
there's one other map feature that I use a lot, which is the
Okay.
map hidden month. So this would be for, your Jasmer grid. So
Yes.
I'm doing this a lot for my trip because I'm looking for those older caches that might be in different states that I'm going through and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
you can get this hidden month tool and it will, find caches that you need to fill that grid.
Yeah, I love this one. This one I have used probably more than others because just recently Susan and I talked about it, and we've decided that I'm not a big challenge cache guy yet, but I do
Hmm.
want to try to fill, like you're saying, I want to try to fill my Jasmer. Uh,
Right.
so this is like, this is really the only way to do it
Hmm.
is to use Project GC because
Right.
again, think of the legwork it would take to try to figure out.
Uh-huh. So, all of these tools that we've talked about have a bunch of different filters you can use. Like I said, you could do center and radius, you could do a cache type or cache size, but the one I really like is the route.
Hmm.
So I've made a route on the site from my house to Denver, so I can search along this route using all of these different tools. So this
Okay.
is how I found most of these caches that I'm probably going to stop for on my way.
So you can create one route, like you said, from your house to Denver,
Yep.
and then maybe Denver back to your house. Create two routes.
Yep, that's what I did.
Okay, and then that route is then available throughout Project GC.
Yep,
Okay,
I believe so. Just like the caches along a route, you can sort of find other people's routes that they've already created.
right.
I believe you can search for ones that are already existing.
Okay,
But the one thing that you kind of have to fudge with is because I'm taking one route there and a separate southerly route home, you kind of have to fudge
okay,
your locations a little bit.
okay.
You can actually add, place cities you're gonna stop on the way in as like stops through the middle of your route. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I did was I, picked a city that was along the southerly route I wanted to go in, and then it forced it to go on the other road instead of the way I went there,
Oh, okay. Cool.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So instead of creating instead of making it more difficult for you and creating 4 or 5 or 6 different routes, you just
Yeah,
kind of specified.
right.
Is that all within
So,
one route, or did you actually create?
um, So I made two routes.
Okay.
One was originally just from my house to Denver, and it automatically picks, I think, whatever the fastest way is.
Okay.
So if you did want to take a detour somewhere or veer off and go to a different state on your way home or something like that, you would have to input that middle location, and then it would route you to that location first and then bring you back home.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, but still, though, you can. I mean, just the fact that you were able to get that kind of information. Now, do you, in general, how are you finding it best to take the Project GC information? Are you downloading it to a GPSR, or are you printing, or what is your normal plan for consuming that information?
So my plan right now is to download these, the GPX files and put them both on my phone for offline and on my GPS. And I'm probably going to end up bringing my laptop with me as well in
Okay.
case something ends up going wrong and I lose that. So that way I just have more than one source in case something does happen and my GPS gets erased somehow or something like that I have it somewhere else too.
Sure. Well, that makes perfect sense. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about just road trip planning in general.
Sure.
You had a note here about, and do you want to keep showing? Is there anything more you want to show in Project GC, or do you want to switch?
No, I'll switch back.
Okay.
Let me see.
Go ahead and you do that, and we'll talk
Okay.
here. We'll talk here about just stop sharing. There you go.
Alrighty.
All right, cool. Okay, so we'll talk about road trip planning a little bit. And you had a note here. It says premium members of Project GC have a routing. Oh, we talked about that.
Right. Yep. So you have to be a paid member for that.
Which makes sense. I mean, they just want you to try it during the trial period. They don't want you. So, okay. So we talked about statistics. Top. That's a cool one too. Yeah, statistics. Top favorites. That's a neat idea. To focus on favorites.
Mm-hmm. So that's also something I like to do is if I'm going on this trip and I know I'm not going to be able to stop that much, I want to stop for something that's good. So they have quite a few features. You could just search for most favorite points, but you can also sort by favorite point percentages, which compares the number of logs the cache has to how many favorites instead of just total number of favorite points.
Well, that's that's important too,
right?
Because like I have a cache in town that I'm very proud of, but it has very few finds. It's a multi, and around here nobody seems to want to do multis very often. But its percentage is almost 100%. Every time it's found, I get a favorite. So those type of caches are the ones that you might not want to miss.
Right.
Especially like if they're new, they're not going to maybe have a lot of favorite points. But if it's
exactly.
But if it's a really good cache and it's had say only 20 finds, but all 20 have had give it a favorite point, that's going to pique my interest.
Yep, definitely. So you could pick whichever one of those you think might work better for you.
Right. No, that's kind of, or do a little bit of both. That's not a bad idea either for in our example, we're going to be in Denver for a little while. It may not be on your route, but yet it's something you may want to focus on when you're So we're going to be
absolutely.
So we're going to be there for a while. So it's like, do I just sort of randomly, which is normally what we do, we just sort of randomly start finding caches and just sort of do it in a very sort of a random. It looks weird when we're done. It's like, what were we thinking?
Spots.
Yes, this kind of weird look to it. It kind of meanders around the city, and it's like, why did we skip all these other ones? Was we just got it's like the bright shiny object. Oh, look, there's another one. Let's go to that one. Yeah,
exactly.
And we don't end up going to probably the better ones in town. So I like that one. That's a really a cool one. And as we talked about before, for some of us that haven't finished Jasmer, and we're somewhere new, we really need to try to find Jasmer Grid caches that may not be local.
Exactly. Yeah. So they have all these different filters for all these tools, and like I said, you can put in a center and radius, like in a city, say Denver. You could put in a route. You can also put in a specific cache type. So if for whatever reason you want to fill your Jasmer with all puzzles, I don't know why you would want to, but you could search for that if you wanted to. I know some challenge caches, they say fill your Fizzy with all puzzles or all not traditionals or something like that. So some people are interested in that, not necessarily me, but it is available if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, that is very cool. Well, speaking of the trip out, let's talk a little bit about what you have planned so far, and hopefully hopefully things go according to plan.
I hope so. I'm hoping so. So like I said, I'm sort of taking a more northerly route on my way there, going through Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska. I think those are all, and then into Colorado.
Right.
So All of those are going to be new for me, new states. I haven't gotten any of those. So that's going to be good. I'm going to stop at least once in all of those states. I'm also planning to stop for what is Ohio's oldest cache,
Okay, cool.
which I guess there's a bit of controversy with this for some reason. I'm not sure what the details are, but when Moga was in Cincinnati, everyone was saying that the oldest cache was near there, and then I'm like, but so I don't know what the deal is, but it's okay because the date,
Yeah.
the GC number for this one is GC2DBE, which is kind of a long GC number for one that was hidden, they say, in 2001.
Right.
So I think there's some sort of controversy with this, but
Okay.
I'm just going to try and find it anyways. I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if it's 01 of 2001, then that's
it still counts.
Yeah,
right.
it goes in your Jasmer grid as 01
Yeah.
2001. So,
Yep.
So yeah, so that's very cool. So whether it's the oldest or not, it's a good cache to find. So
yeah, definitely.
So some of these that you're that you're sort of milestone big caches,
Right.
I assume you've kind of done a little research too to say, okay, how long, in my opinion, is it going to take me to find this particular cache, and how does it fit into your time frame?
Yep, exactly. So I've kind of been, for this trip in particular, I've been looking for these older caches. I know some people are interested in different things, but I've been looking at this. A lot of people like to try and find webcam caches on trips that they go to. I know there's some along my route. Those are just kind of backups for me right now. If we have time, I might go get them. If not, then I'm not that concerned.
Okay. So how much, I know that some people will do, I mean, are you I won't say down to the minute, but have you kind of already started to determine, okay, I need, because you got the boyfriend and the dog with you at the same time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And between the three of you guys, somebody's gonna have to stop at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. With Susan and I, we just try to stop every couple of hours just because.
Yep.
It's a long drive. We usually try to not go too long without stopping, but not stop that all. Try to make it an efficient stop. So have you kind of tried to figure out, we're going to try to stop here?
I've kind of sort of been working on that, but the good thing is that in a lot of these states, at the rest areas along the highway, people place caches there because they know people are driving through and they're going to stop at these rest areas. So that's another good thing, is if you know you're going to be stopping in some general area and you say, oh, there's a rest area here, we could stop and get some snacks and go to the bathroom. There might just be a cache there too, so you might as well take a look and see.
Okay, and then you have some benchmark. We're going to do, like you said, this Ohio's oldest, for example. It may not necessarily fit into the breakpoints,
right?
But if it's a cache that you've probably looked at and go, hopefully I can find this within 15, 20 minutes, and then we can get back on the highway, kind of deal.
Right. I think it might be a little longer than that because some of these are, a little bit of a hike, but I've sort of planned for a little bit of extra time there.
Okay. And then you made a note that you're going to try to do a quick pop up into Michigan and pop back out of Michigan.
Right. So the thruway that we're taking runs basically right below the border of Michigan. So I'm hoping to just get off the thruway somewhere, hop up to Michigan, grab a cache, and then hop back on the thruway.
Very cool.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Susan and I last summer we went to Pensacola, Florida, and did the Geo tour in Pensacola. And one day we're like, well, how far are we from Georgia? Because we don't have the Georgia souvenir. And so
right.
And so I started looking, and it's like, oh, it's going to take some effort to get to a Georgia cache. And then I noticed that there's this one little area, and I can pop out of Florida just long enough. Hopefully the cache is there, and just enough. And it's like, if you go any further, you can't really go any further without going over a lake.
A bridge.
Yes, and then all of a sudden you got to wait a while to get to a cache and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we were lucky. We got there. It's just barely over the. I mean, you barely pass into Georgia, and all of a sudden, boom! There's a cache in this little baseball park area.
Right.
Grabbed it, and we're like, "Hey!" Pop back into Florida and head back.
Right.
We had to get back to do more geo tours. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, so that's cool. So I hope that works out for Michigan. Was there any other? I don't know. You really don't have any other states, do you, that you can kind of?
The only other one that I thought about doing was you can make a sort of detour into Wisconsin and then go south to Denver, but I'm not sure if we're gonna do that because my boyfriend's just like, let's just get there by then probably. So
Yeah.
I do want to go to Wisconsin at some point to go to what's the national park there? I forget the name of it.
Oh, in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and
totally missing the name, but I definitely want to go there someday. So
right, and people are going to kill us when we hear us talk.
I know.
About you got it's like where's in West Bend? Is up in that? Is it in Wisconsin? The West Bend Cache Bash.
Yeah.
We need to go to that one time. So
yeah,
you and I were both bad about our Wisconsin. So we apologize right now. Do not.
I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
Sorry, we love you, Wisconsin. Please.
Yeah,
do not,
I'm sorry.
Don't write me bad.
I'm trying to look it up right now, but
okay. So.
Or not Wisconsin. It's not Wisconsin. I don't think. I'm thinking. I have no idea.
Okay.
I'm losing it. I guess.
That's okay. So
it might be. Oh, it's Wyoming that I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Because we're in. Oh, yeah. So, Wyoming. You've got. Well, it'd be a drive from Denver to get to, like, for example, Yellowstone.
Yes, that's what I was trying to think of.
Oh, okay.
So in my mind, I want to go there someday. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to go back to Wisconsin at some point, and I won't need to do it on this trip. So
right. No, that is a good trip because you can catch Idaho, Montana, and you're all kind of within Yellowstone's reach if you go to Yellowstone. But so you're going to try to grab Indiana's first as well.
Yes. So for whatever reason, a lot of these states' oldest caches are kind of right along the thruway almost. So Indiana's first is, less than a mile off of the thruway route that I'm taking. Nice. That is GC93, which is a October 2000 hide.
That's awesome.
So that's one I'm hoping to get. And also Nebraska's oldest, which is May of 2001. I'm hoping to get that one too.
Go Big Red, GC943.
Yep.
That was hidden 5 of 2001. That is cool. Those are, 2000, 2001 caches, those are gold.
Yeah.
And then when we're there, Susan and I are going to go too, if we can. We're going to try to get out to Tarryall, GC18. That's the oldest in Colorado. Now, I don't know if you've been reading lately about that cache. Make sure when you go out there that there's some road construction.
Oh no!
And so well, you have to kind of maybe take a little bit of a roundabout route to get to it. But if you go, anyway, just double check. I read somewhere where it takes. If you try to go direct to it from Denver, it's going to take you a lot of extra time, and so it's worth it to kind of go around a little bit and enjoy the view as you go.
Okay.
In a longer, circuitous route around the road construction, but so that one we are also going to go try to do, and we'll talk. We're going to talk about the Pikes Peak information during our bonus patron stuff. So we're going to skip over Pikes Peak talk. We're going to talk about that later. And let's talk a little bit about, I love this idea and I hope you can pull this off.
Yeah.
The epic busy day for Sherminator18.
Right. So there is a challenge cache near me that is called the Epic Busy Day Challenge, which wants you to find 9 or more cache types in one day. So on the day of GeoWoodstock, I'm going to try and get 10. The plan is for 10. So in the early in the morning, there's a donut event, a regular traditional event.
Very early in the morning, by
Very
the way.
early. And there's also a webcam near that event. And then I'm
Okay.
also going to try and get a traditional, a letterbox, a multi, a virtual, an earth cache, a puzzle, a where I go, and then of course the mega event.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but we'll see.
No, that's awesome. Well, Memphis Mafia, they've got several Where I Goes out
Yes.
there, so that'll be exciting. And so you got Where I Goes
Yep.
out there available. Puzzle, have you kind of picked out a puzzle already? Are you?
I have a couple picked out. I know there's one that's like a field type puzzle where you have to go somewhere and look up some information. So I'm hoping to do that one instead of like some sort of absurd puzzle that you have to solve at home.
Yes, and we have some of those, and that's a good idea. I mean, as long as it's a puzzle icon,
or a night cache if there's night caches there, which there might be. So I might be able to do a night cache that night and then get the puzzle icon.
That'd be awesome.
Or maybe a challenge cache. Who knows?
Now, what's interesting is I wonder if, and some of you could check on for that Epic Busy Day Challenge cache, what if you did a lab cache?
I don't think those count.
Oh, but they're so rare.
I know. But the problem is you can't really quantify that, like what day exactly you found it.
Okay.
On the website, at least not yet.
That makes sense. I mean, but so really you could end up doing 11, on your own.
Yeah.
You set your own sort of, your own, bar there to.
Yeah, it's just too bad they're not having a Cedo event that day, or else I could, have all of them.
That'd be awesome. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna be really cool. So
yeah,
you'll have to let me know how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see if my boyfriend wants to go along on that adventure, or if not, we'll.
Remind him of.
You might just sit at the brewery and.
Yes,
I'll see you later.
Remind him. We're going to end up going to like 3 breweries just because of either events or side events that are non. So we've got the Prost Brewery that's actually an actual event.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's one I'm going to. It's a sort of a private event that I'm going to. It's at a brewery, and then Deborah having her birthday at a brewery.
Yeah.
So, and
I like their beer out there.
They do. And I've looked at the menus of all. I haven't looked at the Prost one. I don't think we're just going to get in, and we'll probably eat beforehand. But
yeah.
By the way, the parking by that's supposed to be kind of a mess, so you might want to leave early for that one.
Yeah.
But like for Deborah's event, I looked at the menu, and I'll tell you, it's looking pretty good at that one. So, so the boyfriend should be thrilled. I mean, you're going to get to So we'll just kind of get him some food and some beer, and he'll be great.
Right. he'll be just fine.
So let's talk a little bit about your trip back.
Right. So on my way back, I'm not taking the same route. I'm going through Kansas and Missouri so that I can get Mingo.
Yay!
It's just right off the highway, basically.
Yes, it is. It is like right off of I-7. It was like So Susan and I are gonna do that. We're kind of doing what you're doing a little bit. We're doing we're going through Wichita and over to Mingo and over to Denver, and then we're coming down south, going through Amarillo and heading back. So we're making a circle too. But
yep.
So that's awesome. So you get to go do Mingo.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then you've got a couple others in Missouri.
Yeah. So Missouri's first is also not far off I-70. I also want to stop at the St. Louis Arch because I've never been there. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I actually also have some cousins in St. Louis, so hopefully we can crash there for a night if we have to.
That's good thinking.
Yeah. And then also not the state's oldest, but in Indiana there is a November 2000 cache, which is one that I need, but I cannot find it anywhere close to me, so I really want to stop. It's called Fowler Park Wilderness Stash, which is GCC7.
Yeah, that one is very old. So,
Yes.
yeah, in 11 2000, like you said, sometimes the Jasmer, you start looking at it and you're like, oh, great, there's like 3 in the world, you know?
Yeah, it definitely. So the problem I have with that is I think August 2000, there's only 3 left in the US.
Yes.
One is in Utah, which is
Mhm.
really far. One is in Georgia, which is also
Georgia.
pretty far. And then the closest one is in Michigan.
Okay.
It's like way up north in the top part
Mhm.
of Michigan. So I'm going to be like, hey, Daryl, you want to come along with me on this trip and get this
Yeah.
cache?
Now,
So,
the Georgia one, especially for you and I, we would be traveling to Georgia, but it's also, you have to travel by either kayak or boat or something.
oh, yeah.
So it's even more difficult than just showing up.
Right.
Or,
That's
or
what the oldest in Michigan is on an island, but that's
oh,
I think 7 of 2000.
okay. Well, but you could plan ahead. You're a kayaker. You'd be great.
Yeah, I think there's actually a guy that, does these trips for a bunch of geocachers because I've seen people, they say call up this guy and he'll take you to the island, and he's probably wondering like, why do these people want to go to this random island?
Right. Maybe he's used to the.
Yeah, probably at this point.
But that's funny. I always thought in my head, what would be a cool job to have or business to start. And of course, this one would be fairly random and probably wouldn't be, but would be to start like a travel company where it's just strictly people going to get weird geocache finds.
Right. Yep.
I've known people have like gone to Antarctica and they go to a certain place and they work out the details of getting
Yeah.
onto Antarctica to find. But it'd be cool to have like a bus tour, get on and we're going to stop at all these different places and get these
Yeah.
kind of, Jasmer Challenge, the Jasmer Challenge Express. Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch all these random places around
Yeah.
around the states,
Hmm.
So, well, that's very cool. You have done excellent work, Sydney. So I'm hoping.
Thank you.
I need to. I am behind the game, and this week is my week to really
Gotta
start.
get it done.
I do because we're leaving Saturday because we're leaving
Yeah.
early, and so I have a little bit planned, but I need to do a lot more because. And I like your plan because. One thing is I get overwhelmed real quick with, here's 1,000 caches. Which ones do I find?
Right.
So if I focus on one thing, for example, for us, lately we work on Jasmer. So I want to work on Jasmer. So I'm going to use Project GC, and I'm going to pick out along the route. And now that I know, I didn't know you could create a route. I should have known this, but you create a route, and it'll keep that route, and I can use it for various things. So that is awesome. Well, I really appreciate you talking through some of this and, just the help you've had tonight
definitely.
for me and hopefully for others that listen. So again, get out there and do some Project GC work. Everybody is going to love it. So, all right. So we're going to take a minute and do a product review. And this is sponsored by Cachely. Yay! Cachely. Yay! Cachely is the foremost geocaching app. It can be found at cach.ly. And Cindy came up with a product review this week. So talk a little bit about your Whiz Gear.
Sure. So I bought a car mount for my phone. It's called the Whiz Gear Magnetic Smartphone Mount. I got it on Amazon for $7. It's actually a magnet, and it attaches to your air vent in your car. So I have mine right to the right of my steering wheel, so I don't need to look very far. I can just look over. It's not, I know some people have the ones that attach to their windshield and like come out, but I think that kind of gets in my view too much. So I like this one a little better. And you just put a magnet, either stick it on the back of your phone or in your case, and then it just attaches onto this little clip, and it's really easy. You can easily rotate your phone if you want the landscape view.
Mm-hmm.
And the charging port is easily accessible. My plug reaches right over there and everything. So, and you can easily move it from one car to another if you're
Oh,
taking a
yeah.
different car.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
Yep.
Check into that because I tend to stick it down in the drink holder, and
Right.
it gets moved around, and I can't see it. And like you said, I don't want to be looking down and trying to look up. And
Yeah,
this way it's
definitely.
closer to you. I know you mentioned that it blocks some air, but
Yeah, it does. It kind of blocks that air vent a little bit, but that's not
yeah,
that big of a deal.
turn everything up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you're in good shape. So
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. So it's in the show notes for everybody if they want to check out the WizGear magnetic smartphone mount. So very good. Well, thank you for providing the product for this week.
Sure.
So let me talk a little bit about what's coming soon on the show. Next week is show 3, and it's my profile show number 2. This was topical show. I know I'm confusing people, I'm sure. Susan says don't do that, but that's okay. For now, I'm doing it. So next week's show is Doc Firewoman, and it's pre-recorded, so there will not be a live version of the show. But that's okay. Sometimes you just have to do that. And so, because I'm going to be on the road, and then she's on the road not too long after that.
Yep.
So that's going to be next Sunday. The Sunday after that is Geo Woodstock 14er. So
that'll be the day.
I know it's going to be awesome. So I'm doing a special episode for that day. I'm going to, and I hope it works out, but I'm going to record audio. There won't be really a live. There won't be a live that night, but I'm going to do a record audio and then upload it to iTunes that evening for a show. And then the week after that is show number 5. It's another profile show, and this one's going to be the return of the Slinky Monkey show. I'm going to have on Land Monkey with me, so that'll be fun to do. And then tonight I have a special announcement. The announcement is that on show 3, I will make a special announcement.
Oh, no.
Boo.
You had me going there.
I know. So stay tuned for show 3 to find out what that special announcement was.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Sydney, you're going to stick around for a few minutes after the show. We're going to do a little patron podcast. All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. I'd like to thank Sydney Sherminator18 for being on the show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good. I'm glad you were. I really am glad you were on. You have great information. A lot of fun. If everyone out there also enjoyed it, make sure you email me at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at geocachetalk. And Sherminator18 you're a Sherminator GC, right?
Yes, that's correct. Sherminator18 was already taken.
Which is so weird.
I don't know. I don't know why.
It's your Sherminator GC on
correct.
Twitter.
Yep.
And then we have a page, facebook.com/geocachetalk. The show can be found on iTunes and Stitcher, as well as the Geocache Talk website. Tell your friends about the show and ask them to subscribe so they too can hear the show on a weekly basis. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Go geocaching. So good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.